in my heart till you see on the other side of stars.
Oh, the journey starts from where we do first step. No one's sure what lies beneath your morning breath. Rose may be rough and tough, but we will live somewhere.
Nothing easy, get up and go, get it go.
Sometimes this journey is about cliches, all about the destination over us. No matter how far,
No matter how far,
how you
how you
go,
go,
how long can it
no time to waste. You gotta face your life, go get it burn.
When there's a beginning, there's an ending too. As we go away, come across many great image. Feel like lights beneath, colors of love that's excellent. The pictures fade away, beauty will remain the same.
Stop living there when your heart's beating still. No slowing down for me, I'm never going chill. Every low phase of riding like a trail. I bought by the roads but outshine.
All we done will tell the money to the thieves. Longer we wait, may it be the way to keep. Standing by for instance, shouting is the
How we doing? How we doing? How we doing? Let's get that turned down. Let's get that turned down. How we doing? How we doing, everybody? I am late. It's okay. It's okay. We're 15 minutes late. Awful. I know. Just awful. Terrible. I don't have everything going. I was working on taxes. I got them filed. I won't be getting audited this year. They can't get me. They can't get me. Even if they get me, they can't do anything. I am not worried whatsoever. I have nothing to hide. Absolutely nothing to hide. I have zero problems. Zero. Had zero problem paying taxes. None whatsoever. I'm happy to do it. Doesn't matter to me. Whatever. Whatever. Anyway. Anywho. We're back. It's Monday. It is April 13th, 2026. My name's Snowy Lotus. Welcome to the Snowy Show. Today, we're going to be talking about... Hold on, let me start recording. Okay. All right. So, today, we're going to be talking about we're going to be talking about learning. I was thinking about this earlier today. Because yesterday we were doing some reading. And also, I was doing some editing last night. I was in that VTuber Discord that I frequent. Oh shoot, here, let me update this. Yeah, I was in that VTuber Discord that I frequent. And I was having some fellow creators help me out, giving me, tips and all that on how to make videos, which resulted in my latest video from yesterday. And I think it could have had more work done, but it was like 12:30 by the time I got finished. So, right, there's only so much I can do. We were experimenting with different kind of things. And I learned a lot. It was great. I had a lot of fun. I have some new techniques I'm going to be employing. And we're gonna go from there. I have some like motion graphic stuff. I have some like background music stuff, some transition sound effect stuff I'm gonna be playing with today. anyway, with the reading that we did yesterday, we were reading a book yesterday, Storyworthy. I got the VOD on the YouTube. That did not get copyrighted. It did not get copyrighted, but I didn't really I read like 4 pages. But we just kind of kept talking, or I kept talking, not you. Me. I talk here. It's not the other way around. No, it is. Okay, let me get my and so I was doing some thinking today, and I'm like, you know what? Let's talk about learning. I like learning things. I like learning things. I'm not too sure when this, I don't think this desire to learn stuff kind of started at any specific spot. Do I have like a different, whatever. I don't think this desire to learn kind of started at any specific spot or any specific point in time, but I've kind of grown to really enjoy the process of learning new things, the process of understanding new things, and the constant search for new and better information. And this desire is actually reflected in my lore, Snowy's lore. So if you don't know, Snowy Lotus is a ice oni, an ice oni that has been around for thousands of years. And currently, Snowy is cursed to a mountainside. His clan, which is these horns are the signature of the clan that he is a part of, has been cursed to this mountain range. And the reason for this curse is because all the way back when, our clan was not the only Oni clan. There was tons of them all over the place. And we were all the Onis, were bestowed powers by different patron gods. Each Oni clan had their own patron god that bestowed upon them powers. But our clan specifically, the strongest patron god, the most powerful patron god, was our patron god. And now, with these gods bestowing powers upon the Oni, the gods gave them, each specific god has their own kind of directive where the clan has to kind of follow and has to do specific things that the god says to kind of keep their powers. For my clan, our clan's patron god, our directive was help people. Help people. That was our directive. And so we helped people. We helped any human that we could. We helped other mystical creatures however we could, in whatever way we could. And because of this, and because of who our patron god was, we were the strongest. Now, other Oni clans had different directives here and there. Welcome, Riddick. Hope you're having a good day. We're talking about my lore. We're talking about my lore. So, the patron gods of each clan had their own kind of different directives. Obviously, mine was to help people. There were other Oni clans with different directives. Won't go too much into it. But eventually, over time, the patron gods, we couldn't communicate as much with them anymore. Over time, over the thousands of years, they kind of became more and more distant. Eventually, we weren't able to get in touch with them anymore. And at some point, some of the clans realized that they didn't actually have to follow what their patron gods told them to do to keep their powers. They realized that they could just do whatever they want. Now, what this led to was every single Oni clan basically abandoning their directives from their patron gods, except our clan, except my clan. Because of how dedicated we were to not only our patron god, but also the directive given to our patron god. We held steadfast in keeping the directive going, making sure no matter what we did, we always tried to help people. Now, the other Oni clans, seeing that we were the strongest, didn't like this. And they hatched the plot to curse us to a mountain range. They did this. They got together, they formed an alliance, and our clan did try to stop them, but we weren't successful. We lost a lot of people in the fight to try to stop this alliance from cursing us, but eventually they were able to, and we were cursed to only be able to stay inside our ancestral mountain range. Now, inside of our mountain range, there still are a couple villages, so we still help them. But we were essentially cursed. We can't leave. And as time kind of went on, with the Oni clans kind of splitting off, the alliance fractured after the curse was enacted. Eventually, humanity kind of realized that these Oni clans were a threat, because these clans were pushing too much. They were using their power for too much destruction. And eventually, one by one, the other Oni clans were hunted down, and we're the last ones left. Now, because of the curse, we were kind of forced to stay in our mountain range. So, I guess this kind of worked out for us. Now, over the past couple millennium since the curse happened, I was born maybe a couple years before the actual curse was enacted. So it's been a couple millennia now. And over this time, we have had the singular goal again of helping people and also trying to break the curse. Now, currently, we haven't really had any success. And so eventually, as time passed, I and my family, we keep to our duties, our daily duties, but I wanted to try to extend the help and the knowledge that my clan had. And so I, through the help of some of the villages, we got the internet, and here I am. But through that, through the attempt to break the curse, we sought all types of knowledge. Our clan sought all different types of knowledge, looking far and wide, and through the use of the internet and through the use of the villages that we still helped, we were able to accumulate more and more knowledge. And over time, we built up a large library of knowledge, and so here we are. And so my character's goal is to try to use this knowledge to help humanity and hopefully try to find an end to the curse. And all of this lore is actually pretty okay. I don't want to say it's similar to my real life, but because my real life, I'm in the job I work and how long I've been working there, I have been essentially in a cave. I've been essentially in a cave for the past decade or more now. And so the being able to go online and being able to look up and learn stuff has been just a boon on my personal development and my personal knowledge acquisition. And so through all that, and I think it all kind of ties into the lore, I think extremely well. And hold on. Give me a second. I'm trying to figure out how to bridge the lore to the reading. Give me a second. Bear with me. So one of the most important things, I think, when we're trying to learn new stuff that I found, at least, and this is going to kind of tie into the last point, but I'll mention this here, it's a relentless need to ask questions. So younger kids, when they constantly ask why, and as you grow older, people kind of stop doing that. Now, me personally, I don't do that. I always ask why. I'm the kind of guy who, even if I know the answer to something, I'm gonna ask why. I'm the kind of guy who, if I'm in a group of people and somebody asks, does anybody have questions? I raise my hand. Right. Most of the time, this is mainly for just trying to make sure I have a complete grasp of the concept. But one of the specific things here, and in this kind of idea for this talk that we're doing, came up yesterday, and over time, as I've been slowly reading the book Storyworthy on stream, and one of the things that I think is important, especially in the reading, is one, just to do reading, not only because it kind of lets somebody, it is somebody else's knowledge and somebody else's information they've spent a lot of time, hopefully a lot of time, verifying and putting together. You're able to kind of read their thoughts. So reading articles, obviously reading books, I do listen to a lot of podcasts and stuff too. And while some of that stuff, depending on the podcast, it could be not reliable information, it should be seen as anecdotal information. It's important to kind of have that as a framework, so that way you can look at their information and kind of go elsewhere. And you're going to a bunch of different places, right, to learn stuff, maybe a specific topic, like let's say politics. You'll go to a bunch of different podcasts to learn a bunch of different things, ranging all across the political spectrum. You have your left-leaning podcast, your center-leaning podcast, your right-leaning podcast, your center-right, center-left, far-left. I would say far-right, but I'm too woke for that, right? And so you try to take all this information that they give, and you try to, it helps kind of inform your whole thing. And so on the reading specifically, one of the kind of weird discussions that's kind of popped up, and this was a couple months ago, but it was around Kai Cenat, which previously was a very, very massive Twitch streamer. I think one of the largest on the platform at the time. They've kind of pulled back from streaming to focus on other things, which is great. But one of the things they were doing in their kind of new approach to making stuff is they would read a book and record it. And what they would do is they would be reading a book, they would find a word they didn't understand, and they would just look up the definition and try to understand, like, what's this word mean. And I actually ran into this yesterday. I ran into the word here. Let me I'm gonna throw up a text. I ran into the word ordinariness. Pretty sure this is how you spell it. Hold on. Let me make sure that's spelled right. Yeah. So I ran into this word, ordinariness. And now I don't actually think I've ever come across this word. Here, let me put it up here. There you go. Okay. Now, I don't think I've ever actually come across this word outside of the reading I was doing yesterday on stream. And I looked it up, and like I took a step back and I'm like, is this even a word? Like, is this a real word? And then I look it up and it's like, yeah, it is. Oh no, it might not have been this, but like the more I look at it, I'm like, okay, that sounds right. And I look it up, and the definition is the quality of being common, expected, or unexceptional, represented a state of normalcy rather than distinction or brilliance. And this is a perfect example, along with Kai Cenat. One of the important things when you want to learn things is you want to constantly be be trying to encounter new information, new things that you just haven't seen before. And in the reading I'm doing, the author will sometimes use words I've just never encountered before. I think there might have been like 2 or 3 that I've, outside of this context, I've never encountered before. And you know, I think it's important for when you are reading, being okay with just being like, hey, I don't know what this word is. Being that person to say, hey, I don't understand something, tell me. A lot of the time with my friends, I'll jump back to this, being the guy who always asks questions. One of my friends, one of my really good friends, we talk a lot, and he will be explaining more advanced concepts to me sometimes about programming or math or that kind of stuff. And he will ask me, do you know what I'm saying? Or do you understand? And with it, sometimes I don't even give him the chance to finish speaking before I'm like, no, bro, I have no clue what you're saying. But what this does, this is kind of a twofold effect. A lot of the time, I have no clue what he's saying. I have no clue at all what he's saying. And so this does one thing where it'll teach me how to better understand this concept, but also it will then kind of put the onus on that person to figure out a simpler way to explain things. And this is one of the concepts I have kind of talked about all the way back, going all the way back to when I first started doing, you know, this streaming back last September, which is the idea of me coming on here and explaining topics, even if I, you know, don't understand the topic, even if I don't really have a good like grasp on what I'm talking about. The act of me going through and explaining a topic helps me understand that topic better. It's like the act, or it's like a professor, right? A professor will go and explain and teach topics. In the act of going through and teaching hundreds or thousands of students, they have a better and better understanding of that subject. That's why more senior professors are usually better professors, because they've had you know, decades of potentially explaining one single topic over and over and over again. And so that's why they have a very clear, and not only a clear understanding, but also they're able to kind of simplify it so that the average person can understand that. And you know, I was actually watching something the other day, and they were talking about how high school math is supposed to be extremely simple, or middle school math is supposed to be extremely simple. And it's done that way specifically so that way you get the base concepts. But then once you go to high school math, it's supposed to be like, hey, everything you learned in middle school is wrong. And then, you know, you learn how to do math in high school. And then once you go to college, it's like, yeah, the way they taught you was kind of right, but they only did it that way because it's the most simplified understanding. We're going to teach you the actual way of understanding stuff. So, you know, there's a way to a level of kind of lowering or increasing the simplicity of something, but it also, in the act of increasing the simplicity, kind of undermines a person's ability to fully understand the subject. But, you know, obviously this is a thing that's like, well, does it matter if someone has a fully complete understanding on, let's say, networking, like one of my friends is very heavily into? He'll talk to me all the time about a data center he has, or some like project he's working on with coding, and, you know, some like data, you know, different types of data and like hard drives and all this. And I don't really understand it, but the act of him trying to explain it simply helps me kind of grasp what he's saying, but it also helps him understand the concept better, right? And so this kind of moves us into our last point, which is questioning. Like I was saying earlier, questioning stuff is extremely important when you want to learn stuff. You need to just constantly question everything consistently. And, you know, to a point, if there's something you're not really interested in, it doesn't matter, right? I think about if you're watching a like 8-hour long video about the Vampire Diaries. It's a great video. If you know, you know. I watched it. It was great. You know, do you really need to go and watch the show to come up with your own opinions, or are you just going to accept their opinion because, you know, you don't care enough to actually watch the show, right? There's a, you know, how much do you want to engage with the subject to fully understand it? And so there's kind of that aspect, but you know, regardless of that, it's extremely important to consistently question everything, even things you already know. You have to be open to learning new stuff constantly. You have to be open to questioning your own understanding of potentially reality. You have to be willing to just say, hey, reality as I know it might be completely wrong. That's okay. You know, whatever. I mean, are the stakes really that high? Yeah, not really. Like if something comes out about physics that kind of changes our understanding of physical reality, that's kind of crazy. But like, you know, I got to go to work tomorrow. So like, you know, how much does it really affect me? I mean, it's kind of cool, right? Maybe I'll tweet about it. But like, you know, how much should I go and like, you know, I'll just accept the new information and be done with it. But also I think once you kind of get into a subject far enough, you start to have so much information on a subject, you're able to, like, let's say, politics, for example. I do watch a lot of politics. I find geopolitics very, very interesting. That's why we were playing Civ the other day. I find the whole, I just find it interesting. There's not really a big reason behind it. I just think it's interesting. But eventually, after listening to enough, let's say, geopolitics, or maybe programming, or maybe you know, some other topic, you'll be able to start to listen to, let's say, a podcast, a video, or read a book, and you'll be able to say, how does this new information kind of work with my previously understood information? How does this scale? Does this new information undermine what I was thinking? And if it does undermine it, what's the validity of this information? How accurate is it? Is there proof behind it? Is there sources behind it? And then, you know, you kind of start to go down the rabbit hole of trying to understand information kind of more fully, if that's a good way to put it. You're trying to basically pull back the curtains behind different topics and different information. And in the act of doing that, you know, again, understand the topic better. And then, you know, coming on here like what I do and trying to explain these ideas, it's extremely helpful, because a couple days ago, I was explaining a topic, and as I'm doing, I mean, I guess these are essentially lectures. I mean, not really. We're having fun. We're chatting here, but in the act of talking about something a day or two ago, I kind of came to a realization about something. It was my I think it was my derealization disorder. I think it was something like that. Oh no, it was about when I first started streaming. For those who don't know, I would kind of talk in circles constantly. I would talk in circles. I would be going down a road, and I would kind of be wanting to go down one direction, but then realize I gotta come back and then go another direction, right? And so I would, you know, be talking in circles. And, you know, I know a couple of people in here, you know what I'm talking about, right? But a couple days ago, I was explaining that, in that road analogy, I just came up with it on the spot because I was actively engaging with that thought, right? It's about going down the rabbit hole, right? And it's about constantly trying to speak on subjects, trying to understand subjects better, and trying to like have a full grasp of different ideas. And this all comes from questioning. You have to keep questioning things. You have to keep asking questions, even if the thing you're questioning is extremely simple. It's important to ask that. And in this day and age, I think it's great. I'm going to be honest. I'll be honest here. Hot take, very hot take. I really like AI for the fact that I can ask it a question about a subject and I can have it kind of give me a breakdown on how to understand that subject better. Hello, Jaden, how are you? I like AI in the way that I can kind of get a jump start in learning about a subject. I don't really ask AI to do things for me. I ask it, hey, how do I do this thing myself? I don't ask it to create things for me. I ask it, hey, what are the steps I need to do to create this thing, right? Because I still want to know how to do it without having to use AI. But there's been a lot of situations. Oh, you don't like that? You don't like that? I mean, there's been a lot of situations where, like, I had a dryer. Great. I had a dryer belt. Like, the belt used to kind of turn the dryer. It broke. And so I asked AI, hey, how do I fix this? Where do I buy the belt? And it gave me what I need to do. It gave me a step-by-step guide, and it gave me a video. And so I did that. I figured it out. I replaced the belt. It works great now. I was asking it today, hey, you know, how do I approach video making in this specific way? I'm going to try to implement some stuff later tonight, but how do I approach video editing in this way? And I had probably a multi-paragraph prompt that I gave it. And I, you know, basically said, hey, double check this information, give me a detailed step-by-step guide, make sure this is all accurate information. And it did that. It gave me a step-by-step guide. It gave me different things to look up, different examples of different things. It gave me examples, like real life examples, like on paper, what the step-by-step process would look like. And because of that, I'm going to be able to try to do that tonight. And, you know, it's also helped me quite a lot with, like our thumbnails that we have here. It's helped me a lot with, our background here and, this stuff here. It not anything specifically, but it's kind of helped me get better. It's kind of helped giving me ideas on how I should approach stuff, because a lot of the time, one of the largest problems I have is, and I talked about this previously, a lot of the stuff online is it's videos, Reddit, Twitter. It's very heavily focused on beginner stuff, right? Like motion graphics, for example, on DaVinci. There's a lot of videos on motion graphics, but there's not a lot of videos on specific motion graphics. There's big, broad kind of, I'll teach you how to use Fusion, the Fusion page in DaVinci. I'll teach you how to do the whole thing. And it's like, okay, that's great, but like, can you give me some examples on like different stuff I can do, rather than just a big, like, kind of buckshot of, all the different stuff I could do or all the different tools I have. And with AI, I can ask it that specific question. I can give it a multi-paragraph long question and it can answer it for me. Now, obviously, it's anecdotal. You got to kind of take things with a grain of salt. You got to try to approach it with it's not going to be right, but it's going to get me close enough to kind of get me to that point. Like, for example, where is it? Up here, this how was your week? AI helped me make this. AI helped me make this in the way I didn't know how to go into Fusion and like do all this stuff. I had literally no clue. I had no frame of reference for how to start this. I kind of had an idea of what I wanted to do, but without previous knowledge or without previous like things to kind of help me get to that point without somebody literally standing behind me who knows what they're doing, telling me what to do. Where do I even start? And so I think AI in that way is extremely beneficial. It's extremely helpful. Now, the worry about generating content is slop, generating garbage, doing cognitive offloading. It's not good. I'll end with this. I'll two more things, and then one more thing, and then we'll end it. I was talking to my dad the other day, yesterday maybe, and he said something specifically, and I kind of disagree with him at the time, but I was thinking more about what he was saying, and he was saying that AI is going to evolve people, and I was like, no, it's because I was talking to him about data centers and the whole mess behind them, and he's like, well, you did it, and like you fixed this stuff with just AI, and I'm like, it is kind of true. Right? Being able to very quickly gain a base level understanding of subjects very quickly, very, very quickly is extremely helpful. It's kind of insane how helpful that is. And so jumping back to finish this up, when you want to learn stuff, you got to question. You just have to question everything. Question even the things you thought you understood. Question the simplest things. If you don't know what a word means, just Google it. It's right there. A lot of the time, if you're on your phone, you can just hold the thing down, highlight the word, and hit look up. At least on my iPhone. And try to constantly keep learning. Try to keep pushing yourself. Try to keep understanding different subjects, and try to keep trying to fill the gaps of your knowledge. If you understand a subject and someone else is kind of talking to you about that subject, ask them questions. Ask them simple questions. Ask them to explain things you already understand, because there's a potential reality in which they understand what you're talking about or what you're doing in a slightly different way. And by understanding that, you might be able to kind of fully fill out your understanding of, a software, an idea, a type of work, that kind of stuff. And that's that. I don't have anything else. I don't know how to end. We're done here. We went almost 40 minutes. I like this. I like doing this. I think this is fun. I think this is interesting. Clearly, Jaden did not like my take. That's fine. I think AI is helpful when it's used in a learning sense. I do foresee AI being a massive boon in schools when they're tuned right, when they kind of force the student to engage with subjects more, or kind of help them answer questions to or find not find answers, but kind of give them frameworks to understand a subject better. Hello, Bacon. How are you? Wow indeed. I hope you're having a good night. We're talking about learning. We're talking about learning, how to learn, doing all this kind of stuff. And, we're kind of at the end point now, but the kind of takeaway is you got to make sure you're constantly questioning things. You got to make sure you're constantly questioning everything you know, even the simple things. If you don't understand a word, figure that out. Understand that questioning stuff constantly, even stuff you already know, might give you new information to kind of help fill out, how you understand that subject. Yeah. And with that, I think we're done. Bacon Boy Kid, I hope you have a good night. I don't know. I don't know if you're still here. Yeah, we're finished up now. I'm gonna be back. I will be back tomorrow, 9:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I won't be late. Unless the IRS gets me for, taxes. They won't. Not gonna catch me this time. Anyway, with that being said, my name's Snowy Lotus. Thank you for joining me on this lovely Monday evening. I'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. If you missed the video, the VOD is on the YouTube channel, like every other VOD. I'll be back tomorrow. And as always, see ya. See ya. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.